All right, JHK here for Sportskeeda, and join me right now is UFC lightweight Vinc Pichel. Vince, it's good to see you, man. How you living?
What's up, man? I'm living good. How you doing?
Good, man. Let's jump right into it. Survival is something that I look at, and when I watch the sport, and man, you've been surviving in the UFC for a long time, and it's extremely tough to stay with the organization, especially in the lightweight division, man. It's very rare. You've been with the UFC since 2012. Do you trip out sometimes, like how long you've been with the organization?
Honest, that's funny you say that because like not even probably this last week, I was actually talking about it with Yusuf Falal, who's like one of my training partners right over at Factory X, and he said something like that. He's like, "How long you been in the UFC for?" And I was like, "Since 2012." He's like, "God damn!" He's like, he's like, "Dude, that's like 9 years." I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Damn, it is 9 years." And then I was like, "Yeah, I've been out for a few years because of injuries, but damn, yeah, it's been 9 years, and I'm still there." I don't know, man. Like I honestly was tripping out on the other day. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fighters. You mentioned Youssef. He's a young guy. He just entered the UFC in the past couple of years. If you could give them any advice, man, like what would you give them for longevity in the organization?
Jeez, there's so many things that, you know what I mean? Because man, it depends. To me, it really depends on the person. But all I could really say is just don't let anything really deter you from the ultimate goal, man. Like just train your ass off. Do your diligence right. Like don't just train. Be smart about your training. Learn what you're training. Strengthen your body. Like take care of your body. Active recovery just as much as you train. Right. Like those kinds of things. Because me being as an older fighter now too. Like I'm 38. Right. Like I've had to add a lot of like active and mobile recovery to my game and to my training. And sometimes I spend like I mean, not sometimes, but almost every day I spend like an hour to sometimes 2 hours on doing stuff like that. So I would say do that and take care of your body, know what you want, you know what I mean, go for your end goal and don't let anything else take you off that train track.
For sure. Now, you mentioned Factory X. You made the transition, I believe, after the Jim Miller fight. What's behind the switch?
Just a number of things. COVID was a huge part of it. I was in California. It's kind of crazy out there with the COVID and everyone is just kind of like honestly lost their fucking mind to me. So um, we had a little COVID run at the gym. A bunch of people got sick, me included. It took me like I want to say like three almost a full month to get a clean test for whatever reason. And so waited till I got that clean test, went back to training. When I went back to training, there wasn't very many people training. I had a couple partners, a couple decent partners, right? Nothing like I wanted, and I was kind of just roguing around from gym to gym, trying to do what it did, doing what I needed to do to train. And I don't know, I just kind of I was like, you know what, like I can't do this. Like I need to do something. And I talked to my manager Jason, and in my head I was thinking two places: Vegas or Colorado. Vegas was a okay. Now let me tell you my reasoning. Vegas was one because in Vegas I'd have the PI, right? Like I would basically get fed there. I can train there every day. It's an amazing place. I would just have to go like to Extreme Couture's or the other places out there and try to train, right? And get some work in. And I'd be kind of training myself, which is what I was doing back home in California. Then Colorado, and then rent like Vegas would be super cheap for me. I would have saved a lot of money. It would have been nice. Colorado is a little more expensive. It's not as expensive as California, so I was still kind of like saving some money if I would have went here too. But I had over here. There's a system. Mark Montoya has a system with coaches. He has a system, a curriculum that he runs the guys through, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a one-stop shop, which is where I started off because when I started training at Big John McCarthy. So for me to have like a one-stop shop and I could just go train here and there on as like a little side training, right, to get a little extra work in is exactly what I wanted. And I really love just the culture and everything around Factory X. The guys are a team. Like I've never been to a gym honestly where the whole team is like a whole team. Like it's honestly kind of crazy to me, and I really love it. I enjoy the atmosphere, and it's just you know what I mean. So I decided to come over here because of that. Spending a little more money than I was in California on like rent and some other things, but it was a better change for me, and I'm getting a lot better training, and I'm 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 feeling really confident and really happy about fighting right now.
Have you taken the veterans role there? Because there's a lot of young guys, and I'm pretty sure you're training with. You mentioned Yusuf Zalal, man.
Yeah, I'm the oldest person on the team, like, and that's kind of like anywhere I go now, but as in law, except for like a jiu-jitsu gym, right? Like that's the only kind of place where I'd be like the oldest one training. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of young, hungry guys there, and honestly, like, it honestly puts that hunger back into me. So kind of it like, you know what I mean? The energy is super, super contagious, and I've just been over here just absorbing it, and it's making me feel good, and you know what I mean? And I get along very well with a lot of guys. Like there's a lot of guys over here, right? Like a lot of UFC guys too. You got Chris Gutierrez, you got Alex Hernandez, you got Yusuf Zalal, right? Like there's just so many guys, Dustin Jacoby, and then you got other guys that are honestly like killers too, just because they're not in the UFC. They're small, fighting these smaller shows like LFA and CFA, like still, or CFFC, and like on these like Fight Pass shows. So right, like these guys are still killers, and so like there's just like a really good environment around there that I absolutely love. And a lot of the guys are super young. I think Coach Mark says the youngest, like the average age of the team right now is like mid to early, like 23 to 25 years old, because of how young the team is. And so like I'm the oldest guy. I think there's a couple guys that are about my age or a couple years younger than me on the team. So I'm not the only one, but it's a good. I fit in there well, because I fit in good with the younger guys and I fit in good with the older guys too.
A lot of ball busting between you guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me and Yusuf get on each other bad.
Nice.
We always tease each other because like, okay, so the first weekend I moved out here, it snowed, and all I had was a Honda Civic Si at the time, right? Like that was my car. So I park under a carport. It snowed. We had like 3 feet of snow. I was literally stuck in my carport. I had to mash like this pile of snow out with my car just so I can like get out and get to the gym, right? So I was like, screw this, I'm buying a truck. And then I ended up buying a truck, but I buy this GMC that's just like stupidly huge, right? Like it's already lifted. I think it's like 8 inches, right? Like it's huge. It's got big ass 37-inch tires on it. Like it's a monster, right? A 4x4. So I pull up to the gym, and Yusuf's always like, God damn. He's like, whose truck is it? Whose big ass truck is that? And I was like, oh, it's mine, dude. I was like, what's up? You like that? You want to go for a ride, baby? And then he goes, damn. He's like, how small is your dick, man? How small is your dick? Right? I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. So I look over, and Yusuf Zalal, he drives a what's it called, a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tease him. I go, hey man, I go, listen, there's not like really a big difference between your car and my truck, right? Like, but where I come from, they say about the same thing, but let me tell you the difference. He goes, what are you talking about? Like he's so funny. Like Yusuf Zalal is one of the funnest persons to just interact with on a daily basis. He has just such character and charisma. It's just like so fun to mess with, right? Like he just makes it fun. But I'm like, okay, listen. I'm like, guys, like where I come from, men like me, we buy big ass trucks and we go, yeah, we got a small dick, but we'll run wherever the fuck we ever want. You know what I mean? Like I'll run some shit over. I don't give a fuck, right? Like that's why I got that thing, right? I go, but where I come from, the guys that drive Teslas, I was like, those are all like the little hippie liberals that are like, oh, I got a little dick, at least I'm saving the environment, right? And then Yusuf just goes, no, like, so I just tease him, that kind of shit. But so now, like when you see him in the gym, I call him LD. We just tease each other now, back and forth about him.
LD.
But yeah, there's like fun camaraderie like that in the gym. But that's like between anyone. You got like a guy like in there, Austin Jones, who's like such a good impersonator. Coach always has him do impersonations, and he does everyone like to the T, man. Like just the culture that's built around the team is so amazing there, and the energy is just so fun. Like you honestly can't train there, and even if you get your ass kicked there training every day, like you still like love being there. Like it's that kind of environment, and it's honestly a really, really fun environment for me to be in. Holy shit, once again. Hey, relax, dude. Sorry, my fucking caps are being a little asshole.
Yeah, man. Wow, man. That's great to hear. Because, like whenever a fighter transitions over to a new team, it takes some time to get used to, right? Some guys come back too quick, but it seems like you took enough time to where you got, your bearings, and now you're returning. But did you want to return earlier, because it's been a year? Yeah,
honestly, I did want to return earlier, but the COVID kind of put a setback on me, so... Like I fought Jim Miller. I didn't really have an injury, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna fight like, that was August. I was like maybe hoping I could fight November, December at the latest, right? And I ended up getting COVID in November. So like I was sick. I was sick all of November basically from COVID. And then I came out here, I think for New Year's, for New Year's and for like the week to kind of try it out here to train and check it. I had already been to Vegas. I knew how Vegas was, so I didn't really need to go out there and train. I knew that I'd be able to do what I need to do out there, right? I'll just have to do it. I just have to be like super self-responsible out there, which like let's be honest, like if we give ourselves any kind of slack, usually we'll take it a lot of times, right? Like so coming over here was like man, I need to do this, man. So I came over here and I just really like just love it. I can't really like express how much I love it being out here.
But getting matched up though, when you're going back and forth with the UFC, right? Dates weren't just lining up.
Yeah, because like I got sick and then I came out here to check and I think I didn't move out here until March. So it was like March and then I'm at elevation now, so I think it took me like probably like a month to a month and a half for me to even get used to that before I wasn't like sucking wind, like you know what I mean, on the sidelines for a little bit after training. So kind of a little bit of that. I want to get used to that too, and then yeah, just kind of get my bearings. Because if I'm honest, like these guys train rough and not rough, but these guys are all young bucks here. So like it was a little much for me at first, and I was kind of worried I wasn't gonna be able to train like these guys train. But I've incorporated a lot of things in my training. Like I said, I do PT now. I do physical therapy at Barwis Physical Therapy, which is like right next door to Factory X. I train at Factory X every day. We also go to Landau's Performance, which is based with the Denver Broncos. A lot of other guys go, like Usman and Gaethje, and like a lot of the other guys from Elevation go there too, which I thought was kind of funny because the guy that I'm fighting is from Elevation. So I was like, oh my god. But so like we have this little team. So I wanted to get used to like the environment, and once I started like kind of implementing these things into my regimen, I got used to it. Now I'm like, now honestly, I'm like, you can't tell the difference between me or any of these guys that are like in their 20s in the gym. Yeah, I did just want to be able to. I wanted to make sure I'd be ready. I didn't want to come into a fight unprepared and with any kind of like small nagging injury that was gonna have to make me compensate or alter the way I fight. You know what I mean, in a fight. So yeah, there was a little bit of delay, but definitely more than I wanted.
Yeah, it's good to hear that because you know you don't want to rush anything, especially in the sport. Now for yourself, Austin Hubbard, the Elevation guy, basically now it's a crosstown rivalry between you and him. You know, first impressions when they gave you the name.
I had no idea he was from Elevation. I had no clue. When I went back to the gym, so Jason, my manager Jason hits me up and he's like, "Hey, we got to fight Austin Hubbard." Cool. When is it? Austin, August 21st. I'm like, "Yeah, let's take it." He's like, "Okay." I get to the gym. I'm like, "Shit, hell yeah, I got to fight!" Right? We put it up on the board. At the gym, they have like the garage doors, and they have he painted it so it's like chalkboard, so you could like write on it, right? So all the guys that have fights are just lined up on this garage, and it's a big ass list. There's like 30 dudes, 40 dudes that train in that gym like every day. It's pretty nuts. And so my name was up there and was like, "Oh, you fighting? Who you fighting?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Austin Hubbard." So like, "Why are you fighting Austin Hubbard?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Why are you fighting him?" I'm like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "That's kind of funny." Like, I just move out here and I'm just like tossed in the rivalry. But I was like, I had no idea. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't even know. I don't know like rivalries or any of that kind of stuff yet because I'm not like I'm still here, right? So I just found out about all this stuff. So now I'm like, okay, to me it's not really a rivalry, but I guess like they are. But I don't know. I'm not really looking past Austin because he could beat me just like anybody else can, right? So when like when I go out there, he's gonna get me. He's gonna get the full me.
For sure. And you know, your last two fights, you came off extended layoffs, but you probably had two of the best performances of your career. What are you expecting out of yourself in this fight against Austin Hubbard?
Honestly, just an even better performance, man. I've my game has grown leaps and bounds since I've just been here in the short time I've been here, and not like a whole lot has changed, but it's just little things that I've adjusted and altered and added into my game that have made my danger level just extremely higher than it was. Um, you guys are gonna see. You guys are gonna see just a guy having a good time, just doing what he loves to do.
It's always good to see that. Now, the UFC, man, at the Apex, they're slowly starting to add seats. Last weekend, you heard the crowds chanting fighters'
Yeah.
names, and I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah.
sure you're excited to get back in there. Is it something that you're really missing?
A little bit, yes. That energy is always just so good, right? Like you want that energy, you need that energy. That energy is good to feed off of. I mean, that energy could also fuck you too, right? So, but that energy is always good, right? Like I love the energy of the crowd. I love the roar. I love just being out there and just like, I don't know, man. Like that shit makes my hair stand up. It makes me like, it just gets me going, man. So I really love it. On the other note, though, I don't really mind fighting in a quiet, closed environment like that, where I could hear myself think, or I could hear my coach or their coaches, right? Like, I don't really mind that either because, like, I grew up just fighting, right? Like, I didn't train like most guys that are in the UFC. I started fighting when I was 25. That's when I started training. I was just a street kid that just liked to throw fists. You know what I mean? That punch like a fucking Mack truck. So, like, that was just me. That was just what I always loved to do. So that's just how it is for me.
Speaking of fighting in the street, there was that video going around with Joe Schilling and the
Oh,
dude stepping up to him at the bar, and I was thinking
yeah.
like, stuff can escalate real quick. You know what I mean? Especially if fighters are human beings, also. You know what I mean? It's not like they're just levels above everybody else. It's just everybody's the same. When you
Yeah.
saw that, man, what was your initial reaction to the whole situation? Because I'm pretty sure you've been in situations where guys don't know that you're a fighter, but they try to step up to you.
Yeah, when I saw a video, I kind of just laughed and I was just like, well, it's kind of you play stupid games, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Me right away, I've seen people like that guy, from his body language from the very get go, I could tell he was drunk and just being an asshole at the bar. So like, and he right away, as soon as Joe Schilling turned around from whatever he said to Joe, he tried to make Joe flinch. So when I saw that, I was like, this guy, whatever, this guy's fucking toast. He deserved that three-piece, man. Like, you know what I mean? And then, but I don't know. It's not really something as a fighter that I try to like put myself in now, but it's definitely not something that I'm like, if someone needs to learn a lesson, like I have no problem teaching someone a lesson, and I could very well do that without even hurting someone. So it's not like, you know what I mean? But it's rare that we run in any kind of situation like that, and I mean, Joe, honestly, to me, in my eyes, did the right thing, man. Like, so he didn't do anything wrong to me, and that guy, to me, not only had it coming, but he just did something stupid that day, tried to make Joe Schilling flinch of all people. So, I mean, lesson learned, honestly. He's
Yeah,
lucky. He's lucky he's not seriously injured.
yeah, that flinch makes a huge difference, I think, because it's almost you initiating a fight with a flinch, like you're going
Yeah,
to swing. Because fighters read that. That's their job, is to read.
yeah, and we have like we have reactions that are unnatural, but that we've made natural.
Mhm.
And when we're like when we think someone's gonna hit us, like my first reaction is to hit someone first, and I've done that even before I was trained as a fighter, right? Like that was always just an instinct for me. It's just if I felt like someone was gonna hit me, I swang first, or if someone said something to me, I swang first, right? Like what is there to say?
Mhm.
So it's just like I don't know. Some people, that's kind of like the difference in adversity that people face in their life, right? Like that guy's never really been in a situation like that where he's had to where he's talked shit to the wrong fucking person, basically. So, I mean, good job, Joe Schilling, right? Like I sent Joe a message too, like that was fucking dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like good fucking job. Like I had it coming for sure. So,
Now, a couple questions about the lightweight division, since you have been a staple in that division for a long time. Conor McGregor, he breaks his leg. What is your take on that whole situation, man? Because there's a lot of stuff going on additionally added to it. You know what I mean? Like he said that the UFC knew, the commission knew, and then the commission comes back and says, we didn't know anything. And you're a fighter. You've been through the medicals many times. Like you write down everything that's wrong with you, pretty much, right?
yeah. I mean, we're supposed to disclose any kind of injuries, but also the doctors check us before fight, right? They check our face, they check our eyebrows, they check our knuckles, they check our knees, our elbows, they check our joints, basically all of our joints, make sure all our joints move. They make us squat down, they make us do stuff. So McGregor probably had an injury and just kind of bullshitted his way through it, right? Because let's be honest, us as fighters, we are master compensators, and if we're injured, like anyone else is the last person to know if we don't want them to know. So he very well could have been injured, but him trying to do that, I didn't even hear about him saying all that stuff, but him trying to place the blame on other people is bullshit because And in the end, it's his fucking responsibility, right? He could have been like, "Hey, I'm too injured. I couldn't fight this fight." No, but what happened? His pride got to him then, right? Like, if he's injured, just his pride got to him. So, like, I mean, lesson learned for you, right? Like be a fucking man, have some self-responsibility. Like, if you know you're not able to fight, then don't fight. And don't try to blame on other people and try to like fuck other people for it. You know, like that's I don't know, that's a real shitty thing for him to do. But let's be honest, I'm not surprised. It's Conor McGregor.
Do you think he comes back?
And now he's got a rod in his leg now, right?
Mm.
He's not coming back. If he kicks anybody, it's gonna hurt him so much more than he even understands. And especially let's say by chance that rod he kicks and it doesn't hurt him so bad. Let's say the one time he does kick wrong, it's gonna hurt him, so it's gonna be so excruciating, and it might even just break his leg again, just because of that rod, right? Like, so I honestly think he's toast, and his fighting career is kind of done unless something just crazy happens where he is able to be a monster with that thing in his leg. But I doubt it, because that's going to be a target now too. I mean, me as a fighter, if I fight him, I'm hacking that leg. I'm going to break that leg again. So I don't know, man. I don't think it's looking good for him, honestly. And he lost twice to Poirier, and you know, Rogan interviews him afterwards, and I don't know.
The memes of Rogan interviewing. Have you been seeing those?
Oh my God, they're so good. They're so good. The first one I saw was Bambi. I saw Bambi, and then I saw like Lion King, and then like Jesus. Like, then there's like the dude burning in India, the protester in India burning himself. Like, oh my God, there's so many good ones. And Joe Rogan's posted them too, which is making me just laugh even harder about it, because he's like being a good sport about it.
Of course, man, of course. That's Joe Rogan. Now, from memory, man, what is the most gruesome injury you've ever seen?
Wow, like live or like in a fight?
Yeah, just I guess live. You know what I mean? Because that you feel it more when it's live.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. I've seen I've seen several actually, arms bend the opposite way, like flamingo, from people posting, getting picked up and posting. That's a pretty gnarly one that I've seen. In an actual fight, I would say something along the lines of TJ Dillashaw's cut that was on his face last weekend.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or like, I think it was Vernon White in early UFC days had just this gnarly gash in his head that, ooh, dude, it was so nasty. I don't know if you remember that. I'm pretty sure his name was Vernon White. It was like a big black dude, but he had just a gnarly cut over his like face that went up this way, I think, and it was just like, man, you can see this dude's brains. It was nuts. But probably something like that, honestly. Like, I think that stuff's worse than like an arm breaking, like Nogueira breaking his arm, you know what I mean, or to Frank Mir or Tim Sylvia getting his arm broken too, right? Like, things like that to me don't really bother me, unless the bone pokes through, which I haven't really necessarily seen yet. But I don't know, breaking your shin's pretty nasty too.
Yeah, the
And
cuts get to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, anyways, August 21st, man, you're back in action, man. I've been waiting for you to come back, and I'm glad that you took your time to get ready with the team, the new team that you have, and make that run, man. It's never too late, man. There's so many stories in the UFC and in MMA where guys come in and continue their run and reach the top. So hopefully this is the start, man. Thank you so much, Vince.
I know, man, and I totally feel like that too right now. Like, because people used to ask me if I like, what's the goal in fighting? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I just wanted to fight, right? Like, for me, it was just something I like to do because I was just an angry little kid, and I just love fighting. And so now I find a way to make money. But now, like, since I've been out here, I'm like, shit, you know what? Like, I'm feeling so good. Like, I might make a title run, man. Like, I might just go for the gusto, because as long as I stay healthy and I'm doing what I'm doing right now, which I think will keep me healthy and keep me gaining strength and skills. I'm definitely going to be someone. I mean, I'm already someone that everyone needs to be watching out for. But if I really tune myself in, I could be unstoppable, and I know that. So the title shot is definitely within reach of me.